wanted to ask you to present yourself to our audience and to people that will be watching this in Brazil, please.
Hey everybody, I'm Alex Karlsson. I'm a K-pop producer and songwriter. I've worked with many of the big K-pop bands, and hopefully you've heard some of my songs and you've enjoyed them as much as you have the Ateez ones. Doing this for many years, and happy to be talking to you guys today.
I think I can speak for everyone in K-pop that slow it down, make it bounce, stick like a gum, right? So everyone is like, every time I have to say, I'm just quiet in my room, just studying or working, and this comes along, and well, it's awesome. But how did you come up with such iconic phrase? Was that from you? Was that from Hongjung? What was the main idea behind this phrase?
So the track was from Eden, of course, and so then Hongjun and I, we were in the room with Maddox as well, and Eden was also involved in top lining, and we were spitting out ideas, and so a lot of times when we're doing this, it's like, we're hungry, we just like, it's all very spontaneous, and so when we record the first version of it, it's always sometimes whatever's top of mind is the lyrics that come out, and normally we don't keep that, but this time, because the way the track works is it's this build up, and then it sort of slows down. And so we started with the slow it down, make it bouncy, get that chicken fry is how we started it, right? And so I was just spitting out the chicken fry. It's like, oh yeah, let's get some chicken, guys. And everyone was on the same page, like, yeah, we're hungry. And that was kind of how that thing happened. And then the funny thing is, everyone was like, you know what? It sounds cool, so we're gonna keep it. And I was like, you know what? That's awesome, guys. Let's keep it.
And was the main idea of the music from the start to be just a fun, like catchy song? Because we have, that Ateez has a lot of like lore, storyline, and the music video sort of goes with it, but the song is more like a good vibe kind of music to dance. And was that the idea from the start, from Eden, or we just, after you came along, that this became this party music?
So I think that's probably very much my fault that it maybe didn't stick with the storyline as much. I've been a huge fan of Ateez since the start, but when we got in the studio, of course, everybody has different ways of working, right? So the way I usually work is fit out what the first thing is on your head, right? And a lot of times in songwriting, the phonetics can sometimes be very hard to replicate with the right meaning. So the way something sounds when you say it can not maybe sound as good when you say it with a better meaning. A great example of this is Backstreet Boys' I Want It That Way. They wrote a proper lyric to that song, and it sounds terrible. So that's why I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys is like that. And we have a similar thing, I think, with Bouncy, Chili Peppers. What we did in the moment sounded great, and we're like, you know what, this is fun. It's a thing, and we just rolled with it.
Oh, that's awesome. And still talking about Bouncy, what is creative process when you have to complete this such powerful song? How was it like working with Edenary?
So with Edenary, it was amazing. I was so impressed by them, and also so impressed with Hongjun, right? Because like, especially with the K-pop artists, they're so young, so they don't have the same amount of time in the studio as us like producers do, because we sit in the studio all the time. We don't have to go to dance practice, we don't have to shows, we don't have to fan meetings. But Hongjun, like that guy, he was in the studio and he had to go to like dance practice and fan meets right afterwards. It was like, dude, do you ever sleep? So it was amazing, and everybody was so just professional and excited and enthusiastic and passionate about making the music. It was really refreshing to see.
And do you speak Korean? I have to ask.
I don't, and I get a lot of crap for this because I've learned Chinese and Japanese. And the next is Korean. I've always promised everyone this, but it's one of these things, like I want to get fluent in the other languages first before I start learning Korean, so I don't get confused. But one day.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I can't say anything. I worked with K-pop for over 10 years, but I still don't know Korean. So yeah,
it's hard.
Okay.
It's hard.
It's no problem. Yeah,
I'm learning Mandarin too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
你会说中文?
I'm sorry? Can you repeat this?
你会说中文吗?
A little. A little. What should Beatrice?
That's great. It's a really good language to know, and it's a fun thing to practice and work on. It's nice to see that you can improve and have something to work on. So good on you, Beatrice.
Yes, we get proud to learn every word. I get so proud of this.
Absolutely. Good for
Yeah.
you.
And now, when you were offered to work with Ateez, what was your reaction? You said that you already knew them, but it was your first time working with them. You did two songs, right, for Outlaw?
Yes. So this is actually very fun. I had been, talking to my A&Rs, my publisher for ages, like, hey, this Ateez band, they're awesome. Can I work with them, please? And so we've been sending emails to KQ to get me to work with Ateez since, I think the first was Pirate King, something with Treasure. Yeah. Ever since that song, I was like, whoa, these guys are awesome. And, eventually they're like, oh, yeah, sure, let's do a day with Alex. And then when I heard that, I was like, yeah, you're joking with me. No way Ateez actually wants to work with me. What? No way. And then I saw the email. I was like, holy crap, they actually want to work with me. This is amazing. And it was I didn't believe it. I was like, what? No way. It finally happened.
And you are looking for the fans' reaction. What do you feel about what they are saying on social media and all of the challenges that are going on TikTok? How do you feel about that relating to your song?
Oh, I love it. And I have to say the A-Tiny community is just it's the nicest K-pop fandom that they've been the nicest to me of everyone so far. So I'll say to everyone else, hey, step up your game. A-Tiny, y'all are amazing.
No, they're really awesome. We have the fan base here. Some of the questions are from the fan base in Brazil because we are trying to work with them to promote the concert here in Brazil because they are coming in August. So we're trying to help as much as we can as well with the magazine. Maybe we can get a cover. Who knows? If they say yes, it would be awesome. Let's see. So we know that inspiration for composing lyrics came from other places and can come from a lot of different places, depending on the person. However, how does it work for you?
So for me, like we talked about earlier, I always start with the phonetic and then try and find a concept that works around the way that the words are sounding when we do the initial version. With Bouncy, that was very easy because it was just one of those right away. We had a thing that sounded cool and we just rolled with it. Then with the other song on that album that I was involved with, This World, that was a bit different because there they explained the whole concept as that was going to be a follow-up to the World from the previous album, and New World, I mean. And then it was like, okay, we got to figure out a way to make this concept work. And that's much more of a craft thing than an inspiration thing. So we had to work more to make that one happen, phonetically, lyrically, story. But ultimately, I think we did it.
Yeah, you did. Of course you did. And you have worked with a lot of amazing artists, but of all of them, what was the one that you were like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to work with this group?
I mean, the first one was, the first big one I had the opportunity to work with was with BTS. And so that was for me when I found out I was going to work with BTS, that's still going to be forever the probably most special moment in my music career, so far at least.
And you intend to work with them again, maybe someday when they come back from the army?
I really hope so. Last time I was in Korea, I was hanging out with Jimin and we talked and we had a great time. And so hopefully when everyone's back, we can get in the studio and do something again.
We'll hope for it. And now, recently, you were a part of the composition team for Wild Heart for Lunate debut song. And how do you feel knowing that you were part of a defining and important and such a meaningful moment of these boys entering this entertainment industry that is so competitive?
With new bands, I always love being part of the start of new bands. It's a different feeling when you've done the first single. I've done this a few times with a few artists, and the beautiful thing with that is when you're there from the start and you get to see their journey as they grow. It's so rewarding in a different way than coming in later. So I'm so happy and proud that I was able to be a part of Lunate's start, and I can't wait to see where they go.
No, they're great. The song is awesome as well. And if you could define your personality with one of your songs, which would it be?
The thing is, I'm two dimensional on this one. So I think actually the Ateez album really does it well. I really go two modes. Either I'm just having fun, or I want to really have a powerful message. So really Bouncy and This World really show off my personality. I'm up or I'm super serious, and I don't have much in between.
Oh, really? But now you just look really fun. So, yeah.
Yes.
So now we're like in the bouncy moment.
Absolutely.
And now, when and how did you realize you were passionate about creating music, and how did you start working with the K-pop industry?
So funny enough, I didn't know I could sing until puberty happened. Like before, there was nothing for me, right? And then afterwards, voice got lower, and so I was like, oh wait, this actually sounds pretty good. And one thing led to another. Started learning how to play guitar, and I did a talent show at school. And in the crowd was another Swedish producer who was quite famous here, called Andreas Karlsson. And he introduced me to people in the industry, and then I actually, for a very short while, was a Swedish pop star. And that went terribly, terribly, terribly bad. But because of that, I got to discover songwriting, and through that, I got to start working with K-pop. So it was kind of meant to be.
And how did you start? How was that first communication with the K-pop industry? Was it too hard to get into? Do you feel like maybe the K-pop are trying to get more into the like American style, or is the opposite? Americans want to be in the K-pop industry.
Well, here's what's really interesting with that. So when I did my first K-pop song, that was 2013 with an artist called Henry, who was part of Super Junior. And that was actually originally a song that I was thinking of releasing myself. And it's not the same thing, but I was always super into anime and just sort of like Japanese stuff. And then then we got SM reached out, and I started digging into what SM was doing back then, and I discovered all this amazing music. This is awesome. And so I was like, yeah, of course, let's have Henry do the song. This is gonna be awesome. And like within like a week of it coming out, there was an arena sold out somewhere, I think it's sold, and everybody was singing along to every word of that song. I was like, oh, okay, this is amazing.
What was the song?
That song was called Holiday. So it was an album track on that one. But I just the seeing how engaged the fans were just was like, wow, the music is impacting so many people in such an intrinsic way that I want to do more of this.
Yeah, no, Henry's awesome. We did an interview with him. He's really an amazing guy.
Really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome. And now, do you have any role models that are also songwriters?
Absolutely. I mean, since I'm Swedish, we have another producer, songwriter in Sweden called Max Martin, who is like the biggest music producer and songwriter of all time. And definitely he's been an idol for me since I started doing this, and hope to one day be able to work with him.
Well, we will hope for it. Maybe we can get Ateez to do some work on Twitter to make it happen. They're very loud. In a good way.
Let's hope that happens. Yeah, I hope so.
So, of all of the genres in music out there, is there any that most appeals to you, inspires you to write new lyrics?
For me, I'm such a chameleon. I go into phases and I listen to different things all the time. But the one thing I always come back to is like emo rock music.
Yes.
Thank
you.
And it's just something that just always draws me back. There's a little angsty teenager that's still inside of me that like, yeah, screw the system.
Yeah, thank you. I work with K-pop, but I'm such a emo. I guess you can say it from my hair. Well,
absolutely.
I'm 28, but I'm still an emo girl. Yeah.
Yep, I hear you. I'm 29, same thing. Still there.
Yeah, still there. And now when it comes to composition, where do you start usually? First verse, pre-chorus, or bridge? How does that process works?
So normally for me, because I think a lot in stories. So for me, I like to start from the verse. There's times like, for example, with Bouncy, we started with the chorus. But most times I like to start from the verse and see where the story develops melodically and lyrically. And that just for me feels really natural, because the first thing sort of tells you what the next thing should be and opens up opportunities to where you can go afterwards. And I love following that journey and just being able to write it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And now, Loser Lover from TXT has a more of a melancholy and romantic feel to it. It's a bit different from where we are now. But how do you manage to balance this emotion so well and brings to life such a awesome song?
Loser Lover is they're the sort of emo rock inside of me came out big time, right? It's a funny one because I feel like the lyrics that we did in English, they got kind of in a way turned upside down with the Korean version because the first thing was like I think we started with like I got my head in the clouds and it was very very hopeful like we're gonna I think this could happen, and then just like oh I'm a loser for being in love, right? And I was like okay guys, sure, whatever, just ignore what I think the story is. That's cool, do your thing. But the song's amazing and I'm super proud of it, and I think the take they did was super cool even though it wasn't what I originally thought the lyrics were going to be.
That's awesome. And you are responsible as well for one of the biggest hits for Enhypens for all of their careers, Fever. So how do you feel when something you've done has managed to reach and conquer so many people around the world?
Well, Fever is a magical one. I remember, so I wrote that together with one of my really close friends, Mowa, who's also an incredible songwriter. And when we were writing that song, we tried thinking, okay, we need to do this. Like, there is some sort of structure to K-pop and some things that we think about when we're doing K-pop. Like oftentimes it's a big flashy chorus. And on this one, we did the opposite of that. And when we were doing it, both of us were like, can we send this? Are we crazy? Like, is this going to actually work? And then we sent it, and then Hive got back and I was like, we love this. This is amazing, guys. And we're like, oh, they actually liked it. Holy moly. And then it turned into this big thing. And what I love about that song is we broke the rules and it resonated with people in such an amazing way. And then seeing how, taking a chance, doing something different, and then people being like, wow, we love this. And this has affected so many people's lives now. It's the best feeling in the world.
No, it's a great song. My girls, they also wrote, the columnists from the magazine wrote a lot of those questions too. They are really hyped about this interview, I have to say. And is there any singer or group that really surprised you when you heard it and like the result of the song, either by amazing vocals or impeccable interpretation?
So I'll say probably the one that stands out the most on that is a song I did for Super M called Tiger Inside. Originally, the lyrics for that one was actually fun Alex, not serious Alex. So then it was this rap performance song, and I'm talking about like the funny thing is I'm talking about a lioness, and like it's more like a flirty song the way I wrote it. Like me and this lioness were like we're in this sort of standoff, and then they turned it into having a tiger inside of you. And so all the rah and all that stuff, like all the animal noises that are going on, they turned it into this message that was so powerful. I was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. Okay, whoever did the lyrics on this, you know what? Hats off to you. You transformed this. And then the band, when they sang, because I'm doing some crazy notes in that. And when I did the song, I was like, who's going to sing this? And then Baekhyun pulls it off better than me. I'm like, all right, Baekhyun, cool. All right. I've been singing my entire life, and now I feel like I can't sing anymore. So that was one of those where it's like, okay, you guys did this incredibly. Hats off to you.
No, that's awesome. And just to finish up, do you have any tips or recommendations for people who want to start the same business as you, like doing songs for K-pop, being a songwriter? What tips do you have for them?
So I give this one I say this to a lot of people. The sort of first sort of step to doing this is accept that you're going to be bad at it in the beginning and write your first 100 really crappy songs. And by the time you've gotten through the first 100 crappy songs, you're going to start writing some pretty good songs because you're going to learn how to not suck anymore.
That's awesome. And just to actually finish up, please give a message to Brazilian Ateez that are freaking out over this interview. And they really love the song. And I just wanted to congratulate you. It's an amazing song. And people are really loving it in Brazil.
Thank you so much, A-Tiny and A-Tiny Brazil. Like I said earlier, the response that I've gotten from you guys, the love I've gotten from you guys has been overwhelming. And I'm so grateful for how kind and welcoming you have been to me for joining the Ateez universe. So thank you so much and keep enjoying the songs. And I hope to see you guys at a concert one day soon.
Yes. You're coming to Brazil for the concert or not?
Probably not the concert this time, but maybe in the future.
You should.
Great.
And thank you. And now Beatrice is going to stop recording because I want to ask you something personally.